certainly is a hot spot for me, something I'm very interested in as we become owner, hopefully this month, of WPKY. And when we did our original interview and talked about kind of what our plans were with WPKY, we talked pretty much at length about we feel it's our obligation to help grow small business in Caldwell County. So that's your goal. That's what you do for a living, Amanda. So I just wanted to share some mic time with you this morning. Let's talk about what you've got going. I know you've been working on a project for a few months.
Yes. So I am with the Lake Barkley Partnership for Economic Development. We cover Caldwell, Crittenden, and Lyon counties, working to try and bring more jobs into the area. Our goal is to work with big business with some of the industrial partners and manufacturers, as well as developing small business to try and make this a really great place to live and work and raise your family here.
So how did this project come about?
Well, the partnership has been in existence for about 20 years, but recently Crittenden County came on to join the partnership this time last fall, and they were looking for a new executive director, and I was looking to move back up to the area. I'm originally from North Texas and was working in economic development there, and started up here in the very end of May, kind of first week of June. So with me coming on board and working with the partnership, we really wanted to develop our strategic plan. So that's mostly what I would like to talk to you guys about this morning and tell you kind of how we've gotten there and what some of our initiatives will be. Over the summer, we worked with the 3 different counties to hold community meetings to help the community identify our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats so that we are kind of aware of what the perception is and can look into kind of what the data that backs that perception for our communities and really kind of help. So from that, we kind of outlined some goals and identified some things that really affect all 3 counties in the region and started to develop our strategic plan. So the big priorities of that plan are going to be working with existing businesses for expansion of opportunities there and ensuring that we retain their business here in the community, working with workforce development because it seems like there are some challenges with our workforce, and we want to make sure that we provide every opportunity to businesses and to people in the community that are seeking jobs, and make sure that we can provide them with training or that they have access to training, because there's a lot of programs out there for continued education or on-the-job training that people just don't know about. We also want to work on building up our niche sectors, which really kind of where we're already strong and where we have really strong local business and how we can help develop that a little bit more, and then see if we can kind of build off of that a little bit.
What did your information come out as showing your niche factors being?
So we are very strong in okay, so let me see if I can get it off the top of my head on Monday morning.
Okay.
But for our area specifically, we're very strong in manufacturing, some in tourism because of the lakes, a lot in public service, and then agriculture based.
Okay.
Yep. There's more, but those are the ones that I can remember right now. But it's great. We have a pretty diverse local economy here between the 3 counties, and so that's really nice. So if something happens to one industry, we're still kind of safe because we have several industries in the area.
I really feel like that was a key selling point when we went through I guess we call it a recession. I'm not sure that could be defined a lot of different ways just 3 or 4 years ago. And I do think the ag economy was extremely strong during that window of time. And I think that helped offset some things for us where our region never really felt the same as maybe Michigan did with their automotive, heavy toward their automotive industry. So.
Well, we have a lot of local farmers here that use a lot of technology, and then also having the UK Research Center here. We have some of the highest numbers of PhD per capita in our county here in Caldwell compared to some other counties in the state. So I think that's something that I'd really like to work with the UK and the farmers and the extension agencies to kind of develop that and see where we can really help people the most and how we can use our resources to kind of help what's already here. We don't want to, bring in something new that we don't have the support system for, but really kind of work with our businesses to help them be stronger and help build a stronger local economy.
So you kind of feel like your focus may be a little bit more of retention and growing existing business more so than new business recruitment.
That's really, I think, where we need to start with, and where we're going to start is working with existing businesses, filling current job openings, and then learn from our businesses on where we could be really competitive to go recruit. Because if we just go out and blankly recruit without the research, without knowing how our community is strong, without knowing what our workforce is good at, we won't be successful. The competition is so high. We need to be very smart in what we're working with and how we're going to recruit. And we also need to make sure that it's something that will succeed here. So yeah, we'll put in a lot of time and a lot of research into where we should go recruit.
Our company works with about 500 or 600 businesses a year, and what we're hearing consistently is we're having trouble finding quality people.
Right.
And that is a very serious issue as a small business. If you're trying to grow your business and you can't find the right key people
Right.
to help you grow it, that is a deterrent. I mean,
Right.
that becomes literally a point of we can't expand, we can't grow, we can't add jobs because we can't find the right people.
Well, and if our local businesses and existing businesses cannot fill the jobs that they have open, how are we going to bring in something new that's going to create more jobs? You know, so one of the things we're really working with the schools right now to work with students to try and help them know what career paths exist currently, and then talk to them about what career paths they're interested in, and try and grow some of our targeting that way. And then we also want to make sure and work with adult education and just other avenues to try and connect people who are looking for work, who maybe need a certain type of training or are lacking some type of skill, and just figure out what that is. We really, you know, one of the things is to get to know our businesses and get to know our community so we can be successful. So I'm just kind of here, there, and everywhere all around in the 3 counties, and, you know, try and do what I can with everyone and just kind of connect the dots and see what makes sense.
Are there some existing facilities in place in those 3 counties that will allow you recruitment opportunities? In other words, do we have a building, a spec building anywhere in those 3 counties that would allow that?
So we have, here in Princeton, we have the Build Ready site, which it does not have a spec building, but it has been through, the state has a process to make sure that it has already had all the site work, existing utilities are in there, there's a road, there has been geological studies. So we do have that. I have a really great relationship with the industrial boards in all 3 of the counties, as well as the Riverport. So we have more sites than existing buildings right now, but there's been new legislation that's come through the state that over the course of the 3 years, Caldwell and Lyon counties will receive about $300,000, and we can use that for economic development purposes.
So the TVA funding, I think, is
That's
what you're
exactly what it
referencing,
is,
right?
yes.
That is, I think, going to be huge for the rural counties to be able
yeah.
to bring those dollars back home that have been spent at a state level, but
Right.
now can be spent at a local
Exactly.
level for economic development.
Exactly. We have already been working with the fiscal courts and the IDA boards, which is Industrial Development Authority,
Okay.
To figure out what kind of projects we want to work on. In Lyon County, we are working on the Asian carp situation.
Yes.
And trying to
Had a story on that this morning, didn't we?
So we're working really hard with that. And then here with Caldwell County, we are looking at developing a spec building. That's kind of what we want to explore right now and see what we can do with that. So
When you look at the infrastructure for those counties, I mean, it's phenomenal opportunity when, especially with 69 now running
Yes.
through here, and you've got 4-lane going out, interstate access 24 and 69. I mean, that not every county has
No.
any interstate
No, the fact
access,
that we
and we have 2.
2 interstates between the 3 counties, 2 interstates, a riverport. I think we have about 1,000 acres in industrial sites ready to go, and we have a population of 300,000 that go into our workforce, and then also with 2 airports. So I mean, we have all the pieces here. It really is just selling our story and getting the word out there and telling people what we're good at and what we're looking for.
Well, hey, let's take a break. I want to visit some more with you. I'm
Okay,
excited
great.
about what you're working on, and I want to share that with our listeners this morning.
This is George Kilgore, and I'm asking for your vote for magistrate in District 4. I have the qualifications and training to serve as your next magistrate. I have 17 years' experience serving as magistrate and have over 500 hours of training in the laws and regulations of serving in this position. These classes were provided by the Kentucky Department of Local Government and trained me in the responsibilities of the office, such as open meetings, ordinances, and budgets. I have also served for a 30-day interim period as acting county judge, and during that time prepared the actual budget and presented it to the fiscal court for approval. I am asking for your vote to allow me, George Kilgore, to put these years of experience and hours of training to work for you as your magistrate.
Paid for by George Kilgore for Magistrate.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street,
Hello,
Princeton.
this is President Donald Trump. We are doing great things all across America and certainly in the great state of Kentucky. Our massive tax cuts were the largest in our nation's history and helped create more than 4 million new jobs. We have great new trade deals, a wall being built on the border, the strongest military we've ever had, and we're taking care of our vets. We're getting great things done. I need Kentucky's help on Election Day. Please vote for Robbie Mills for State Senate. This is really important. Your vote on November 6th will keep our Make America Great Again agenda moving forward. Our country and economy is doing better than it ever has before. Let's keep it that way.
Paid for by Kentucky Tomorrow and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. KYTomorrowInc.com. Kentucky Tomorrow is responsible for the content of this advertising.
1580 103.3 WPKY. Good morning. Time is 8:30. We are joined in the studio by Beth Mann and Amanda Davenport this morning.
Talking one of my favorite subjects this morning, economic development. And, you know, that's really what we're all about. That's really what we stand for. It's really where we're headed. And I think everybody's interested in how are we going to grow our community. And right as we're going into the election cycle, that's always heightened. You know, what are we going to do to have more jobs for our young people? How do we keep young people here? How do we give people an opportunity to make a better living? And those are kind of some of your jobs, Amanda.
Yes.
That you're focused on now. So
I do a lot of those things, kind of starting with the young people. I think that is really important to talk to some of our students and see what they are looking at from, you know, middle school on, even maybe some elementary school, just to let them know. I mean, the number of careers are fascinating that you can have here. It is almost unlimited that you can have here in your community or that you can do online and kind of have a customer base elsewhere. So we are really working with all 3 school districts. I actually had a regional SWAT meeting after we did it with the community. We went to Lyon County and students from all 3 of the counties came, and I had about 18 students participate in that and get their perspective on the strengths and weaknesses of the area.
was it very different?
It was a little bit different. It was a little bit, and looking at, because one of their big things is they don't see the opportunity that's necessarily here, or they really feel the impact if there's not a ton of entertainment for them here. That was kind of one of the big things. There's really, if they're not involved in sports or if they get out of school, there's not a ton to go do afterwards. So we're going to continue with those meetings with the students. I have one in December again, and try and get just their perspective and their voice a little bit more, and then working with the schools to figure out ways that we can get students in some community leadership and get them more involved, so that we, as we plan for the future and plan for the next 5, 10, 20 years in our communities, we are working with the people who will be here and who are we want to get them to either stay here if they want to go straight into the workforce, or get them to come back here after they go and get an education, or just go live somewhere else and get them to come back here and raise their families here.
So what's next now that you've done your SWOT, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and you've done that at every level in every county?
Sure.
What's next for you guys?
So we just approved our strategic plan. So that really, we have an intense focus over the next 12 to 18 months. And then we have kind of outlined some goals for 2 to 5 years out, but we're going to really focus on what we want to accomplish in that time. And a big part of that is going to be working with our existing businesses, kind of getting to know them a lot more, getting to know people in the workforce as best as we can. In February, we are looking to have a job fair, and we will be working. It will serve all 3 counties, but we are planning to hold it here in Princeton, still finalizing the details of the location. So we will have more information to come on that, but that's something that we're working with the Igniting Caldwell group to plan this job fair. So we've had really great reception for that so far. And then in addition, working with the schools, building better relationships with the community partners. Now that I'm here working with the partnership, really trying to, get them to know who I am and what we are all about, working with businesses, and then also working with the school districts. So the first kind of 12 to 18 months is just building relationships and kind of conducting some research to know what our local data looks like here. So it's going to be a busy time doing both of those things.
You mentioned Igniting Caldwell Group.
Yes.
Is that unique to just this county? Does each of the 3 counties have something similar to that, or this is a group you're working with individually?
This is a group that I'm working with just in Caldwell County. They started, I don't have the full history, so forgive me on that, but they started a couple years ago with the University of Kentucky. Their Community and Economic Development group came out and did a survey and worked with this group. And I believe they got 800 respondents from the city and the county to just give their opinions on what they think is happening and where they want to see the community go. And so I was invited to kind of work with that group a little bit. And we have several different committees through the Igniting Caldwell group. I'm on the Economic Development Committee. And our part of what we are doing through that committee is a job fair and then looking at different ways that we can work with business and industry as well.
And then they just made a change, right? They just transitioned into their next phase also.
Yes. So they it took them a little bit. They did the survey, and once again, I don't know the exact timeline on that, but they worked very hard to make sure that they heard a good representation of all community members in the county. And then from there, kind of in the research and data collection phase, now they're working into their implementation and planning phase. So kind of implementing what we need to do now and how we can work now, and then building a plan for how they can continue on forward and keep doing programming with the community and partnering with different groups throughout the community.
Fantastic. Sounds like we have a good future ahead of us. That's very encouraging. Before we end, and I do want to invite you to come back and be with us on a real regular basis. Let's talk about economic development in this community. That is our responsibility. We take that responsibility very seriously. But I do want to ask you as we close out here today, what can we do to help you build and grow our communities?
I mean, really, just having conversations like this so that, I'm hearing what you guys are doing and kind of what you're hearing from some of the other people that are coming on the air and what your perspective is, and then just having conversations like this so that people know who the partnership is and kind of what we're working on and know how to get a hold of us if they have an idea or want to be involved or, are looking for a job or are looking for something and they don't know what. And that's kind of, we're here to help and give out information.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Misty, for letting us be on your show this morning.
Well, I appreciate having you ladies. It was a very informative interview. I hadn't heard about any of this, and so it's nice to hear that it's going to grow.
Yes.
And I really, you mentioned a couple of things that really piqued my interest that maybe we can talk about later.
Wonderful.
Thank you, ladies, for coming this morning. Anything else to add before we close up?
Thank you so much.
Coming up, we've got Stan Dunning. He is a local veteran. We're going to hear from him in just a few minutes.
Yo, we driving, we living